Hi, this is Isabella with 5 Minute Mentors here interviewing Miss.
Erica Pereira.
Thank you, Pereira. So, how long have you been in your profession?
So I started working as the teacher about 20 years ago. And for the last 17 years, I've been working with DC Public Schools.
And what are some struggles you face in that line of work?
I think the struggles I faced when I started teaching was obviously just getting used to working in a classroom full of students. I started in middle school, so that's kind of a difficult age sometimes, both academically and then just kind of social emotionally. So there was a big uphill learning curve for me when I worked with that age group. And then I worked with elementary for many years. So I guess some of the struggles were just kind of understanding the pedagogy of working with different age groups of students. That's kind of like the work, that's kind of the struggles I faced when I was in the classroom. Since I've been out of the classroom and working for our central office, I feel like the struggles have included kind of it's like a big bureaucracy. There's a lot of different departments, and sometimes to get movement happening, things go a little bit slow, and you may have a great idea or a great project in mind, but they don't, it's not always accepted, and or if it is, it takes a lot of input from other people that you're working with. So I think probably the struggle in my where I am right now is a little bit of the bureaucracy that I face.
And how do you manage yourself in that bureaucracy?
um I've worked hard to collaborate and be very collaborative with the different teams. So I think relationship building has been the key for me to manage my struggles, because then I have these connections with people through work, to kind of see projects through, and get feedback, and not feel so stuck.
And why did you choose this line of work?
So when I was your age, I did not want to be a teacher. I did not want to work in education. My mom was a teacher, and I just thought like that was just not a profession for me. But then when I got into college, I started volunteering, teaching English as a second language for actually adult immigrants in Northern Virginia, in the Alexandria area. I thought I wanted to go to law school, so I worked in a law firm, for an immigration law firm, because I always kind of had an interest in kind of immigration issues. And so I worked at the immigration law firm, but I didn't, it just did not fit me. And I remember I was like, the happiest I was when I was teaching in a classroom. So I decided to go back and get my master's degree in education, and specifically international education with a focus on English as a foreign language or English as a second language.
And did you have a mentor in your life?
I did. So when I was in the classroom teaching, I taught at a middle school for 3 years, and a lot of us were newer teachers. I didn't really have a mentor there. But then I moved to elementary school, and I was fortunate because the school I worked at, about a third of the teachers were brand new, kind of like I was at the time. A third had been working for me like 15 years. And then there was a third of the teachers that had worked over 20 years in education. So it was a nice range. So I had like kind of old school mentors with like, just a lot of tips and tricks from like all their years of teaching. And then I had kind of a mid range of mentors that have been teaching maybe 10 years. So they kind of had best of both worlds. So I felt nice. It felt nice to have kind of a diverse range of mentors. That's when I was in the classroom. And then, and as I've worked in the central office, I definitely have had, most recently, my boss has been like my mentor. She's another woman of color, and I think that she really wants to see me move forward. And so she is constantly advising me and supporting me. Kind of, she sees a path forward for me, and I think that it's been really nice to have kind of like a right hand person to put, like almost like my mom, right? Like to push me forward and tell me I can do it and show me the way and kind of give me advice when I might be taking a wrong path.
And have you ever hesitated to do something because of your identity?
No, I don't, I really don't feel like I have. When I was growing up, I was the one of the if not the only one of very few girls or people of color in my school. I always grew up in kind of predominantly white schools. And but I felt very fortunate that my mother and my parents, they gave me a very strong foundation in who we are and our identity. So even though sometimes I might have felt uncomfortable or kind of the other, in a situation. I always had really high self-esteem, and I really thank my parents for instilling that in me.
Hmm, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.